Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to Patch Digging a Hole. Happy Mother's Day, and to all the female guardians that are looking, and all those in the world that are doing mothering for others around the world. We celebrate it here today in the UK, so happy Mother's Day to you, and thank you for your service to all of this world and all of humanity. Without the mothers of the world, well, without my mother, I wouldn't exist here. And just this incredible, foundational, loving, nurturing, caring support that we receive from our mothers. So grateful and humble for. And I was just reflecting a little bit as we walk up the street here. Sometimes us men, like in my journey, need to go and get something out of their systems. Like I need to go and get 26 years of software engineering career out of my system, and then come back. I feel like my wife is just incredible at supporting that, and these things are very much a partnership, but at the same time, it's just that really beautiful, nurturing, loving, caring energy for both me as a partner and also our kids, and just taking a moment to reflect on that, and be so grateful now that I came back to my passions and my passions and my love for my family and everything else. It's a real honor. So just before I was walking out of my house, I was reflecting on some of the things you guys have been asking me about, and a topic to talk about is about spirit guides. Who are spirit guides? What are they? And I've done different videos about how to connect with them. I have my 14-day spirit guide meditation challenge, which I continue to update and enhance. That's free of charge. It's on my website. My website's getting even easier to use and simpler to use. So just go on the home page and go into meditations, and you'll be able to get started. There's an Android app, and you can use Wix Spaces for iPhone, or to access all the content. And soon, one day, there will be an Apple app as well. Some of you have been asking things like who exactly are my spirit guides? So they are beings, so they're souls like you and I have souls from around this universe, across space and time. And I feel a lot of the time we find it easier to think of past lives, so you'll often find me just talking about past lives, but really there's no restriction across space and time, past, parallel, present and future. And these are beings that just before we incarnate into this lifetime, we do a bit of a deal, right? We say, well, first of all, it's a bit like you're offered a game selection. You're like, if you ever play these games, one option is, what is the character? Like, what's the avatar you'll play? Oh, I'll be John Binnie. And then say, oh, what are the things that'll happen in John's life? Oh, there's some trauma. Oh, that trauma will be good. I wonder if how capable will John be of working through that and using that trauma to help him grow, to grow his soul. Oh, that looks average to good. And then who's my team? Like, who are the people, who's the spirit guides that will work with me? And say, oh, good news, there's Maya, the elemental guide. There's Em and Shal, the Lyran guide. There's Marita, the mantis guide. There's Muria, the dragon guide. And so on. And here's your 8 active guides. And then your soul can say, yeah, I think this seems like a good fit for me. I'm going to go ahead and invest the energy in incarnating, and let's see what happens in that lifetime. Now, during your life, your guides do get to change, so you get to meet different souls. And the way it works is, I see this around 8 active guides. Some people have up to about 30 guides who are kind of in the background, who are available to come in and out. Sometimes you'll be working on and off with them. Sometimes they'll rotate in and out for longer periods of time, days, weeks, months. I've certainly had, in the last year, I've had 2 or 3 guides turn up. I really just show up for 2 or 3 weeks. You'll have seen them appear in some of my videos, and then they'll move from being an active guide to the back. Our guides can be any being, right? They can be, as you hear from some of mine, they can be human, they can be the souls of the pets that we've owned, or, you know, I don't really like that term for owning people. I don't really feel like I own Patch. Patch just is. And that usually they're of an equal or higher vibration than you. This isn't like a hard and fast rule, but if, you know, my purpose is to continue to raise my vibration, so in that respect, my guides reflect that. They're like my vibration and higher. And all of our guides exist in different frequencies and vibrations, just like all us humans do. We all have different levels of happiness, and you know, that includes a lot of the guides are, a lot of my guides are in 5th dimension. Some can make it down to 4th, and sometimes even into, you know, touching in and out of the 3rd. Certainly my lowest vibration guide, Marek, who's a little kind of dark little being that sometimes helps me work with connecting with beings at lower vibration. So you also ask me questions like, is it okay to use pendulums or dowsing rods with, I mentioned this in a recent video, when you're talking to your guides. And I feel everything that you do, it really helps to be intentional and to be safe. So do it cleanly and ethically. And, you know, so just like, I often imagine it like if there was, let's say there was a pub, you know, like a bar in the street, and you're hoping that one of your spirit guides is in there, because this bar is like a metaphysical bar, and it has like lots of different, you know, whenever you go in there, all your psychic abilities activate. So this is all hypothetical, right? Imagine putting on a blindfold and then going in, sticking your arms out, and going in with a blindfold, and just standing in the middle of the bar and saying, okay, I have a question. My question is, will I be rich in 1 month's time? You know, what's going to happen? You're going to get lots of different beings taking the opportunity to answer that question, right? And you'll have no idea who's helping answer that, who's moving the pendulum for you. So that's one thing to be aware of, is this universe energetically really is more like a jungle. It's not like some big desert or wasteland. It is a really busy place, and you're always attracting different beings at your vibration. So if you attract, I love this tree up here, if you're feeling happy and excited, you'll attract beings at that vibration, which is a great start, right? And even better, like, be intentional. So I always create a safe space. And when I create a safe space, we're crossing over here, Patch. When I create a safe space, I say who I allow in it. My guides, my higher self, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Source and Gaia. And when I'm inviting in my spirit guides, I'm basically creating this little private room within the space-time continuum. And what's wonderful about that is, I'm deciding who comes in. Now I have the universal law of free will on my side. I have a clear intention. And these are all super important, because as soon as you use these universal laws, you then create this kind of safe, home-like environment for you to do your work. And then, even after I've created a safe space, I will ask, every question I ask my spirit guides. So initially I will address them all as a collective, because I may be asking one of them for something specific, like for one of them to come forwards to assist with something specific. You can say the word. It's getting nice and hot. So some do my zip, if you're wondering what that noise was. It's funny, lots of the dogs are barking as we're in their gardens as we wander around, and they can't see us. So yeah, that's important. Initially address your guides as spirit guides, and then as you get to know them, as you get to know their names, you can ask them individually. They very much work as a team together, and when they work as a team together, they're always putting forward collectively and individually the right guide for you to work with you. The other really, really cool thing is that our guides are also like a match for their reflection of our own abilities. So if you imagine, if the opposite was true, imagine if you had incredible third eyesight, and you're hoping that your guides could help guide you on this. Well, what would happen is you would end up in a situation where, if they didn't know how to do any of that stuff, they wouldn't be very good at guiding you, right? So yeah, it's often true that you'll have a guide that is just really well aligned to your own capabilities. And right at the start of client sessions, this is what I do, is I'll invite one of the guides to come forwards and to assist with the top, say, 3 things that you wanted me to focus on. Common examples include life purpose, clearing and unblocking anything to help activate your psychic gifts, and doing, helping with your health, with your energetic health, and doing quantum energy healing. And what's fascinating is often what happens is your guides will nominate one of the guides to step forwards, and as they do, they show themselves to me because I asked them to come forwards, and so I get to see, excuse the empty bag, I get to see them and to talk to them and to find out more about them. And as that happens, I also remind my client that what's happening is you're seeing a reflection of you. Your guide their abilities are a reflection of you. And the other really cool thing is that what I find fascinating is that our guides are souls like us. They have and had many incarnations as different beings, and so when they come forwards to you, they're often choosing the best matching lifetime. And sometimes that's a lifetime where, especially when they first introduce themselves, where they've shared a life with you. So quite common for me is to have galactic races come through in client sessions. The Arcturians have been very common. I'm starting to see a few more Blu-ray entities, avians, Palladians, who else? We get some Zetas, and the list goes on, Orion's belt, like on and on and on, and some humans too. So yeah, and a lot of angelic beings. So the list is very long. That's just a snapshot of some of the recent ones over the last couple of weeks. And so when I go to lengths of explaining and introducing a guide to the client, I'm also take the time to say, look, we'll find out more, but your guide is saying you also share, similar abilities. And so you can often see your spirit guides as like a team of beings that collectively, they mirror your own abilities and definitely what you're capable of achieving in this lifetime. Or should I say, receiving. Excuse me. So that's really beautiful. So when we talk about using pendulums and dowsing rods and other tools, even tarot cards, my recommendation is start with, there's no coincidence that I suggest that you start talking with your guides when you're practicing talking with them cyclically in meditation, because they're the closest to you. These are beings that you've worked with before, you've got agreements with them to work with them in this lifetime, you've chosen them as a team and they've chosen you together in this partnership. They are a great match for you in terms of your own abilities, and it's the safest, right? Because you can address your spirit guides as a collective group. It's a team of 8 beings, and they will work together to be able to help you. If you don't start with your spirit guides, well, if you're wanting to talk to other beings, I definitely recommend you set up a safe space. You do all of that work I just described, but be really discerning. Ask your heart, like, what is the intentions of this being? Who are they? What does their energy feel like? Does their energy seem to match what they're saying, their intentions? What do my spirit guides think of them? Like, it takes a lot of trust and energy to be able to figure out how best to talk with other beings. For example, in client sessions, I only invite in my clients' guides. They're the only beings I've never met before, or often never met before. A repeat client, I'll have met at least one of their guides once before. It's not always the same guide that comes forwards in subsequent sessions. But this is hugely important. And I also avoid generic terms like spirit. Spirit, what messages do you have? Because spirit is basically, what is it, my spirit, your spirit, every spirit in the universe? I don't know. I think it's just really ambiguous. And I choose to be safe and specific. And you could try practicing things like broadening out and saying any being with the highest good, love and compassion for you, or the highest good, love and compassion for all, but you have no idea who's stepping forwards to work with, and there is no such thing really as good and bad, right? Or good or bad. Every being is just a mix, their own unique mix of everything in between, just like us humans. So keep that in mind whenever you're making choices about who you want to connect with. And it can sometimes feel a bit tempting to just be really generic and open. You may even see there's some people that are, they might even be very popular on social media, and they might be able to achieve incredible accuracy in the work they're doing. But who are they working with? Is it their guides? Is it some other being? Does that other being, or even their guides, have your highest good or the highest good of all in their hearts? I can't answer that for you. It's something I just want to raise your awareness of. And I have had clients come to me who have big followings on social media, and they're channeling all kinds of stuff very easily, but they lack the foundation or discipline around safety. And when I work with them, I find it really shocking. I find it ethically very challenging to navigate and also to help them. This is not about judgment, right? We're all doing our own thing and working through exploring the metaphysical world in our own ways. But I would definitely encourage you to, if you're thinking of working with someone, or especially if you're receiving a one-to-one session from them, or if you follow them regularly on social media, just pay attention to how do they maintain and keep up a safe space? Who do they choose to work with? What does their energy feel like versus what does the feeling of their energy feel like in your heart versus what they're saying or doing? And a little bit of attention to who they work with as well. And just being wary of people who, are really just wanting to climb a ladder. I think it's really important to just be discerning in this journey. And the risks are real, right? The risks include, risks to your energetic health, to your physical health. They include challenges around, ending up with some sort of attachment or cord connected to you. And often you can end up feeling very drained. You can feel like, I'm sharing this based off what other people's experiences have been. Other clients that have come to me for help, they've experienced this, including from some who have large social media followings. So I prefer to, you might notice I don't talk a lot about people that have large or small social media followings. I think it's largely irrelevant, as I said the other day. I don't think the number of followers or subscribers you have should dictate to you how much you trust someone. And there's other examples like world leaders, like we don't all, or presidents and prime ministers, we don't all agree on who is the best fit for a country, but what we do agree on is how it feels. We can agree with ourselves about how it feels in our hearts, and so I encourage you to do the same with those with on social media, regardless of their size of followings. And what else is going to talk about? Yeah, some of you have had questions like, could one of my relatives go on and be a spirit guide for me? And it's like, yes, it's true. They could be. You may have shared this life. Come, Petch. You may have shared this life together, and then they subsequently died during this lifetime of yours, and then you've ended up in an opportunity where they can come back and work with you as a spirit guide. And in many ways, you may have felt that guide-like energy from them, that very loving, caring energy from them. Come on, Petch. When they were living. And so really what you're reflecting on is what it feels like now that they've passed over. And you're like, oh, I think it would be lovely to be able to connect. So I think that's really wonderful too, just feel into what it feels like, and what would it feel like. I would say in a client session, it could be quite common for someone to say, oh, I had, often quite recently in the last few years, someone that passed over, or they might say that it's more that they had a connection with someone who was close to them, and it was just really beautiful. It was like someone had maybe died a few years ago, but they keep coming back and saying hello. Maybe it's in dreams or whatever. And I think that's a really beautiful sign that perhaps they're coming to you because they want to talk and be more like a guide with you. And I don't feel with guides you really need to give them permission to be your guide, because that consent has already happened before you came into this life. So you can just allow yourself to feel into that, what feels right for you. And that really brings us on to an interesting topic, which is, can you hire and fire spirit guides? Well, the latter is certainly true. You can choose to fire spirit guides. And how does that work, you might say? Well, what I do know is that when we work with our guides, sometimes things go wrong, right? Our guides are unique individual souls. They have free will, just like us, and they can decide to like agree or disagree about something. They may have seen in at least a couple of occasions where the guide has become highly protective, like too protective, and become very possessive and restrictive over the client. And that can be a moment where, it's an opportunity to check in and say, well, is this a being I still want to have, a partnership with, just like in any relationship. It's really rare, just to reassure you, and I feel like I'm not going to name who the guides are, because they're quite famous guides. But if I did tell you their names, you would likely have, how to describe it, a feeling about this way, Patch. You'd have a feeling about how likely or unlikely that would be. Come on, buddy. In other words, how mischievous or kind of on the edge they might feel, somewhere between good and bad, and or maverick or rogue. These are different character traits as humans, and they can be different character traits as guides. And yeah, to get rid of one, really it takes a bit of a conversation with your whole team. I wouldn't suggest you do it by yourself. I'd suggest you get in touch with someone like me, or someone that you really trust, and talk to them about the challenges. Like, how is it affecting you day to day? Do you feel there may be good reason about why your guide's behaving in a specific way? The rest of your guides may or may not have a bit of an opinion about it as well. So these are just things to consider. And I've not seen a guide attack a client. It's never extreme like that. It's more like being too restrictive, too possessive, too controlling for what the client would describe that they're happy with, and then also what I feel is appropriate as a client and guide relationship. But no one really gets to judge other than it's really between the client. It's between you and your guides, right? What goes on between you and your guides is for you and your guides to judge between each other. Anyway, like I said, it's really rare that something like that happens, but I just wanted to make you aware of it, because I think it helps paint a clear picture about the level of free will involved. Come on, Patch, don't destroy the flowers, please. The level of free will involved, and then also the different decisions you get, like what are the different things you can and can't do. I think that's really, really powerful. And then what else would I describe? The hiring, I think that's really interesting. You can, some people do have quite famous guides, so they can be, sometimes they're, for example, archangels. So sometimes Archangel Michael or Archangel Uriel. See quite a lot of Archangel Uriel offering his energy and consciousness to guide people, and he's wonderful, right? Because he helps with boundaries, and he's a gatekeeper to heaven, and he's just a really lovely protective soul. And this is all entirely possible. I also see some people having guides like Ganesh or Shiva, or there's just a long list. I even met some people that had more recent modern spiritual celebrities like Alan Watts, if you ever heard of him. I think it helps if they've died, so to speak, because if the body's no longer living, they've got more capacity to help you. Am I like a living spirit guide? In some respects I am, yes. It probably explains why it takes so much energy, space and time to support people. And I'm sure I've been a spirit guide to others in the past and would love to be in the future. I'm sure I will continue to be. And I feel what happens is our souls are capable of creating multiple instances of our consciousness across space and time. And it really depends on the will, the energy, the capability, the advancement of the soul in question. And when it comes to souls like archangels, often we'd see them as spiritual or religious deities or beings, that they do have, their soul has a capability to be in many places at once and to help people in many places at once. So it sometimes, when a client hears, oh, I've got this like really famous spirit guide, know that loads of people do, and it's by no means belittling to your experience. More the opposite, more that there's good reason why they've decided to honor you, your soul, your lifetime, and help support you, invest in you. And this is so important, right? Like, to not belittle yourself or dim your light or feel so humble that, or feel a lack of worth. It's important for you to really step into your own truth, your own power, and say, yeah, quite right, I deserve amazing spirit guides because I'm amazing. And then finally, something I've been teaching a bit more about in my Higher Self foundational training is the power of gratitude. Just be really clear about gratitude. Is incredible, right? Like, it is such a high vibration, powerful emotion, an order of magnitude higher than shame and fear and hate and all these lower vibrations. So thank your spirit guides. Thank them for all their interactions, for their love and support. Thank them for being there for you and helping you. And I'm thanking my guides right now. Thank you for all your help. So yeah, I hope this video finds you well. It's been a real honor sharing this walk with you for 35 minutes. Please check out my ever improving website and apps, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you, take care, sending love.